And welcome back to another episode of the Wrasslin Roundtable podcast, hosted by two guys who have not yet been asked to take a 50% pay cut by TKO. I'm Ryan Hall. I got my guy Dominique LaRue joining us as always, and I hate to lead the episode with this. I really do, but that's been the only thing, and we're 2 days before a pretty big and important PLE this Saturday. And all that's been in the news are pay cuts and the fact that so many wrestlers have been cut, including the shocker that still kind of blows my mind, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, the New Day, asking to get released after they were asked to take a pay cut. It just blows my mind.
Yeah. Um, we've both been talking about this and have feelings about it. Uh, could you imagine the history of wrestling? All our big stars. And I mean, New Day is one of the biggest stars of all time too. Like outside of being goofy and this and that, they're one of the most
One of the most
decorated,
important tag teams of the past 10 years.
one of the most decorated teams of all time. That's sitting there
Yeah.
like saying, uh, DX in the middle of not in the middle, because I mean, obviously they would stay, but close to the end of Monday Night Wars before Triple H like turned on them to be Triple H. It's like DX asking to be released. We would have never got Triple H to be the cerebral assassin, or
Yeah.
that's like Harlem Heat,
Yeah.
one of the most iconic tags. That's like the Road Warriors asking to be
Yeah.
released. It's like the list goes on and on. And then
Demolition just went into the Hall of Fame.
Demolition that just went into the Hall of Fame. Like, and then to hear about these pay cuts, and we're talking about top talent:
Yes.
Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley. The list really hasn't officially came out, but yeah, I mean you can take a big guess on who probably got axed. But to be axed not 10%, not 20%, not maybe 30% even, but half of your pay, the pay that you put your body, your mental health, your absolute sanity on the table every single night to perform for us for entertainment. These people can't even walk to a store without getting chased or filmed or disturbed or anything. But yet, what keeps them going is the pay they get to provide a life they live now for their families, for themselves, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, is rightfully deserves because you put your life on the line literally every 2 weeks now, 2 times a week now. But I mean, even then, before TKO WWE, think about what they had to do in the previous years with Vince McMahon or, all the house shows and stuff they worked. Because, like, let's not forget, before TKO got involved, they was working for Vince McMahon and they was working day in and day out. So, like, to get to where you are now and then ask to take a pay cut after you done literally shed blood, tears, everything on that mat and pretty much lost a piece of yourself to not only give another piece of yourself, but a very important piece of yourself that you've worked so hard to get to some on the crash out to some selfish corporate people
Yeah.
is ridiculous. And it's not like the money's going to charity. It's not like it's going to some big pot where it could get flipped and increase the pay for everybody that's working. No, it's going into the execs for their pay raises. People that's sitting in the boardroom with a suit on, trying to tell us what is entertaining to us.
Who probably drove to the office in a Ferrari.
Yeah, or a Tesla, or
Or
you know,
yeah.
They just got back from a trip to Cuba or whatever the case may be.
Right.
They've been sitting and eating crab legs and drinking Moscato or whatever they want to drink,
Right.
while everybody else is literally putting their life to the side to entertain us.
Yeah. The thing that, and we were talking about this before we recorded here, but the thing that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around is that no, we don't know. Other than Woods and Kofi, we don't know for sure who was asked to take these pay cuts. Like you said, we have some hunches, we have some suspicions, but we don't know for sure. But the way that guarantee pay works in a company like WWE, these are all independent contractors now. But the way that this works is that you do get a downside guarantee of you're going to make X amount of money, regardless of if you sell a T-shirt, whether you sell an ice cream bar or whatever. But the guys who like the stars, Roman, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, like the big main event stars. I guarantee you, like I guarantee you that when Seth Rollins was injured, and he's had some injury problems lately, but when Seth Rollins was on the shelf with that shoulder injury, I guarantee you he wasn't worried about money. I guarantee you he wasn't worried about how to put food on his daughter's table. Um, because he was still, you still had t-shirts and whatever kind of merchandise you have. The guy, like the stars, had the opportunity to sell endorsements. I've been hearing some rumors that LA Knight was maybe one of the ones that was asked to take a pay cut. Obviously, we don't know this for sure, but that's been a name that's been out there. But LA Knight also has the Slim Jim endorsement. And I guarantee you, he's not hurting for money because of that endorsement. And I don't need to tell you how important the Slim Jim endorsement is to pro wrestling. So, but the guys the guys and women who were asked to take a pay cut, I guarantee you these were people probably in NXT, Evolve maybe, people who were trying to make a name for themselves, people who you might have seen on TV as like a security guard or something, or like a background extra in a skit.
Mhm.
I guarantee you these weren't people who you've seen on TV, but these are people who were asked to take a pay cut, who were trying to live out their dream, who were trying to make a name for themselves, who were trying to be on the come up, but you're asked to pick to take a pay cut. It's like the lower levels of minor league baseball all over again. And it does not make a lick of sense. But at the same time, you had I forget who it was. It was one of the corporate bigwigs in TKO went on some earnings call bragging about how attendance is up, how revenue is up, how all these things are up. But you're asking your talent to take pay cuts. The very people who you and me and other hardworking people are putting over our money to buy tickets, to buy t-shirts, to buy subscriptions to ESPN. Because of these men and women who are going out there busting their butts, putting their lives and their health on the line to entertain us. And I wish we weren't so prescient about this. I wish you and I weren't so prescient about this, but did we not predict this about a year ago when TKO really started to stick their nose in things? I hate to say we were right because I like being right, but I don't want to be right about this.
No, I never wanted to be right about this particular topic because that was our biggest fear.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could have given us crap storylines, you could have given us anything else in the umbrella of WWE that didn't make sense. But the one biggest thing that you and I both know is that stuff outside of the product doesn't make the product even better. And that's one of the things, TKO being TKO. And that's what we didn't want because now we're sitting here talking about this when we should be talking about Backlash. Backlash is
Yes.
literally 2 days away. We
And
have so
we were
much.
going to talk about it, but we can't lead the episode with it, and
We
it
can't leave
just
it.
pisses
Yeah,
me off. Yeah.
we can't just not talk about this because it's serious. Because
Yeah.
New Day asked to leave somewhere they literally. It's like AJ Styles always calling himself the face to run the place, and he just leaves. Or Roman, he talks about I'm the one that made this $1 billion product, blah blah blah, and he wants to leave.
The closest, and this just hit me, the closest comparison I think to something this egregious is Bret Hart leaving WWF because he
Agreed.
was asked to take a pay cut.
Yep, absolutely. I totally forgot about it. Yeah, I mean, and just think about the
And look at how bad
shift.
that blew up in his face.
Yeah, but I mean, when you think about it, at the time, it was a big shift. Like Bret
Absolutely.
Hart asked to leave WWF and then go to WCW. And if
Yes.
things would have played out right instead of how they played out, I mean, who's to say WCW wouldn't have been better? I mean, or one up on WWF because that's when they had to get a little edgier. That's when they had to literally pull a rabbit out their butt. And I mean, who better than Stone Cold Steve Austin himself?
Hmm. Ugh. I mean, it is, it really is a shame. It really is a shame. And, I don't want to absolutely rail on this because I do want to talk about Backlash. But there is a board member of TKO by the name of Dwayne the Gravel Johnson. Okay. Now, The Rock was seen on the red carpet for the Met Gala in New York last weekend. This man was wearing a watch that was valued at something like $3.3 million, dollars, like full of diamonds and, what have you. Did he buy it? I don't know, but it doesn't matter as how it looks. He was photographed and videoed wearing that thing.
So you telling me he
And
pretty much had like 10 houses on his wrist. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah. Or, it's like we said, just, that might have been like a residual check that he got from one of the 9 million Fast and Furious movies. Or the
One
Tooth
of his
Fairy.
or the Tooth Fairy or a race to Witch Mountain, which was like an
Yeah,
old movie.
yeah. Scorpion King.
Well, yeah, I forgot about Scorpion King.
Yeah, yeah. I think he probably wishes he could too. Um, but
Well,
my point,
the one he made an appearance on the Mummy, but the Scorpion King movie did pretty good.
yeah, no. But just kind of thinking about like the optics of something like that, right?
Right.
Everybody knows that Dwayne Johnson is sits on the board of directors of that company. Okay. It's obvious. This was a guy who made his bones not in acting, even though he's made plenty of bones but he made his bones in the ring. Okay. Um, the optics of something like that. And I don't fault somebody if you get invited or if you're able to donate enough to go to one of those red carpet things. Knock yourself out. That's fine. Um, but the optics of something like that, when you're wearing, when you're that man, I mean, think about it like this. That man was wearing on his wrist the salary of not even a good major league relief pitcher. Think about it. You can sign a major league baseball pitcher with an ERA probably of 4.5 that man was wearing on his wrist. The optics, especially when you just saw the release of one of the most important tag teams of the past decade, the optics are just awful.
And the timing is awful too.
Yeah. Though the timing may even be worse.
I mean, like, because we've been through these releases before,
Yeah.
and some
Every
some
every
have
every
been,
spring, unfortunately.
yeah, every spring, unfortunately. But some releases are like, I, some talent was actually in the middle of things. Like, I don't understand, like, people that was getting TV time getting released, but then you turn around and like New Day asked to be released, and you could tell, like, week on, week out, like Kofi was being involved, but he wasn't being involved. Like he was basically seeing like he was going to be the Javon Davis seemed like he was about to be his protege or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Woods has not been shown at all. Like, yeah, he did get injured or whatever, but like eventually when they're able to come back, not perform, but they'd be backstage. Woods was never backstage. He was doing his thing with his his project or whatever, or staying away. So it was just eerie. It was just weird. So then finally, the big news about them being released was shocking to me because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well maybe they didn't get their proper way out as being as big as they were. I mean, they was literally head above shoulders of any tag team in WWE or any tag team in professional wrestling.
First ballot Hall of Famer. Easy.
Yeah, I mean the only ones that were touching them were Usos, Hardy Boys, Young Bucks, and that's it.
Yeah.
That is it. That's literally it. I mean,
Yeah.
like, no disrespect to any other tag team, but like that was the standard. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It just, and,
oh, FTR too. I'm sorry. No disrespect to them too.
FDR. Yeah. Yeah.
FTR. But
Um, like, what do you think is next for them? What do you think is next for Kofi and Woods? Because if they want to keep working, I mean, I know Kofi's had some injuries. He's also on the north side of 40. Woods is pushing 40 himself, and he's also got his presence online with that up down down video game YouTube channel, which I think has got like 3 million subscribers or something like that.
oh, it's
Um,
phenomenal.
yeah, and it's great content. And but if they want to continue working, and there's been some talks about trying to maintain um, uh, Woods. They're calling it like the Tyler Breeze deal, where they like sign him for like the intellectual property or something like that, which seems like an insult to a guy who in 2019 was one of the most inspiring stories pro wrestling has seen in a long time.
Hmm.
So, but it's like you told me before, before we recorded. If they want to continue working, Tony Khan would be absolutely bat insane not to offer them a check, not to offer them a contract.
Tony Khan would I don't like to use the R word, but Tony Khan would be
Please don't.
crazy
Yeah,
to not pick up New Day. New Day is pretty much on the same realm of Bret Hart leaving WWE
yeah,
and going to WCW. The tag team division would shift drastically if New Day was to take over and go to AEW. Obviously they're gonna change their name to whatever. I mean, I see the IWC calling them the new era, or new something or whatever. But I mean, business like
the new era would be funny as hell, just considering the problem
yeah,
that we have with that phrase.
exactly. Um, oh God, that was yeah. So the tag team division would have to pick up literally, like uh Syndicate, whatever, all the tag teams in AEW. It only elevates them even more to have that decorated tag team over there, especially you know going years back where with up up down down. I mean, Woods is great friends with Kenny Omega. Kofi is great friends with those guys, so
Hmm.
they got chemistry. So just imagine the aura of seeing the. I mean, and then no disrespect to the Hardy Boys. I mean, wherever the Hardy Boys went, they brought people like, oh God, the Hardy Boys are back. But like this would be on the same aspect of the Hardy Boys, and yes, they're in their 40s, but they still can go.
Yeah,
So we could get at least 3 to 4 years, give or take, of them putting on great shows with all those tag teams that's there. And just the knowledge they have will only make that talent even better. So
yeah,
like this is terrible for WWE, to be honest. I mean, like when you lose people like that and they go over, if they go over there, but if they go over to AEW and they raise the product over there, this is making it more like eventually AEW is going to catch up. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, y'all can sit here and say like, oh, AEW, no, no, no. They got
yeah,
endorsement deals. They got these streaming deals. They got this, that, and the third. Tony Khan literally owns the Jacksonville Jaguars,
yeah,
$1 billion team, like an NFL team. And who loves football? America. They're going to pour their dollar bills in football. So then Tony Khan flips that, put it in his product, and what we gonna have? We're gonna have the same thing. Well, Tony Khan ain't gonna TKO AEW, but
right. I
eventually
mean,
they'll be on the same playing field as TKO.
I make fun of Tony Khan as much as anybody, but he's not a stupid man.
Oh,
He's not a stupid man. He may let his guys do reckless stuff, but he's not a stupid man. And if he's smart, he would definitely sign those two guys because you bring up a great point. We'll move on to Backlash here in a second, but you bring up such a great point that not only can they still work, not only can they still go, but they can elevate younger talent in that on that roster, and they can also act as mentors to the young kids, to the young talent that's coming up um, on that roster.
yeah. And I don't really have a particular tag team that I know for sure over there, but it's one that they probably could just, grab their arm. I mean, put their arm around them and like really just mold them into the next new whatever. But
Yeah,
on the upper echelon of tag team.
yeah. New Era would be funny as hell. That would be just kind of a good FU moment
No,
to
the IWC
to
is wow. They just right off the rip. As soon as somebody get released, oh, New Day is going over there to be New Era. Like, wow, where do you even come up with this at? But that, yeah,
and instead of a trombone, their prop should be a sledgehammer.
oh.
I don't know, just throwing that out
Um,
there.
and I forgot to ask you this before we got on the show, but like, does Brock Lesnar retiring, like, does this pay cut even take, like, when you think about it now, before the pay cuts happened, Brock Lesnar retired, and they was expecting him to go to SummerSlam and retire, right?
Yeah,
But Brock was like, "Nah,
yeah, I'm
I'm finna
out.
get the check, and I'm out." Right?
Yeah, I'm going back to my farm.
So exactly. So now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, did was that like the reasoning why Brock was like, "No, I'm not finna give y'all more of me just for you to take half of what I've earned over these years." And I mean, this ain't something new. Brock went to UFC. So he knows how TK moves. So it makes me think about stuff like that now. Like,
That's a very interesting and a very terrifying thought, if I'm being honest,
yeah.
because because it was right there. It
Hmm.
was right there. Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam, Minneapolis. It's in his backyard. Let's give him a send off at, at SummerSlam. But when he started taking off his boots and his gloves in the middle of the ring after that Obafemi match, you might be onto something, and that scares the hell out of me.
Yeah. I mean, because I literally just thought about this while we was
Yeah,
just talking, and it makes perfect sense because when you think about it, it's like asking the Undertaker, "Hey, we need you to," in the mental of him being the Undertaker, like, "Hey, you need to take 50% cut." Like, 50% cut. I stayed here in this company through thick and thin. How you gonna ask me a question like that? Like, I'm one of the pioneers that really helped this boat stay afloat. And just to ask Roman Reigns for a pay cut. Roman freaking Reigns. This man has this man has went through hell and back with the big dog, this and that, getting buried by John Cena to just rise above it after COVID and become what he is today. And then the man is fighting leukemia.
he is not cured. He is in remission from
Yes,
leukemia, to be
yes.
clear.
Like, he's day in and day out, has a strict diet, has a strict way he likes to do things. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why he ain't doing the European trip that
Right.
they got coming up in June because of that. So, I mean, I don't know if they're gonna take the title off of him or they're gonna keep it on him and just let him not work over there. But the thing is, like, this man shouldn't take a pay cut. Like, most of these talents shouldn't. I mean, none of them should take a pay cut. But if you're gonna take a cut, get 10%, 20% at least.
I would love to know. I would love to know because I know there's been speculation, and Roman Reigns was one of the speculation. But I would love to know who exactly was asked. If these were, like I wouldn't, other than Kofi and Woods, of course, who've been public about it. It just, Like, I don't get it. I
I can
don't
tell you,
get it.
I can tell you one thing. I don't even know. I don't even want to know the names. Anybody with a pulse and a common sense, you walk in that door and they ask you, "Hey, we're gonna need a 50% pay cut from your pay." Anybody, me, you would have been like, you out of your rabbity ass mind to just ask me some stupid stuff like that. Like they have to pay for their medical bills.
Yeah,
They have to pay to fly to and from. They have, oh, well, okay, hold on, wait. I think
yeah,
Jade said something on the podcast where it's not what you think it is. Like I think maybe WWE covers something, but not to where you may think.
yeah.
They had to pay for their costumes. They had to pay for, I believe, travel, maybe
I,
something like that.
I know they have to pay for their food on the road outside of like on-site catering.
Yeah, yeah.
They
But
have, well, I
like,
think they have to pay for their own food, and those big dudes, they got to eat a lot, and those grocery bills are not cheap.
right. But it's not all glitz and glamour like, oh, WWE flies them out everywhere, this and that and the third. No, they have to
No,
literally use their own money. So
yeah,
like I don't.
yeah. It just you know it just it blows my mind. It blows my mind that, and for some reason I just flashed on LeBron James. Now, LeBron James of 2026 is not the same guy that he was, you know, 2010 or
2018.
even yeah, 20, 20 years ago. But he's still a name brand attraction. People will still buy tickets to watch that man play basketball. People will still buy his t-shirts, buy his jerseys, buy his sneakers. He's still an attraction. It's like asking somebody like him to take a 50% pay cut.
That's
It just,
it, 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 think the quicker we can move on to backlash, the
yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah. Let's talk some wrestling because I'm feeling a crash out bubbling in my soul here. Well, believe it or not, we actually have a wrestling show coming up in 2 days. A pretty important wrestling show coming up in 2 days in Backlash. And it's, I think, proving to be interesting, an interesting kind of show. Now, 5 matches have been announced, which for a non, for like a so-called B-level pay-per-view, it's kind of standard under
Mhm.
the new umbrella. And they're doing the same thing like they did for WrestleMania, that the first hour of the show is going to be shown on, I think, ESPN2.
I'm still doing it.
So, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they are doing that again. And then of course through the ESPN Unlimited app. But here's the lineup so far. Obviously, card subject to change, as we always say.
Mm.
Um, you're going to lead off with Seth Rollins and Brian Breaker. What do you make of that? What do you make of that match? Because I think that it makes sense for neither guy to lose, but somebody I think's got to lose.
Um, you're absolutely correct on that. I feel the same. I feel like it's going to be some shenanigans that happen in that match.
Yeah,
Um, what's the timeline on Bronson Reed's return? I know you got a
I
torn bicep, so
yeah he's
tricep.
he's probably going to be after SummerSlam or later. I'm thinking.
Mm, okay. Well, Braun cost Seth that match with Gunther. But how do you get Braun to get momentum from returning? And then how you give Seth momentum and he lost at WrestleMania?
Yeah, yeah. That see, this is like of the five matches, this is the one that just kind of confounds me because they obviously have huge future plan for Bron Breakker,
Yes.
like WrestleMania main event type level future here.
Yep.
So you can't kill his heat, but at the same time, Seth Rollins is just coming back, coming off of the loss at WrestleMania. He can't lose his heat either.
But the thing that's kind of like tough for me is like Seth Rollins has the name value. Seth Rollins has the long laundry list of accomplishments behind him to where this loss this loss wouldn't hurt him necessarily. It's kind of like that glass. I mean that ceiling where he's at that ceiling, and
Hmm.
he can't go anywhere else. It's not a glass ceiling. He can't just break through it and keep going. He's literally capped out. And I seriously believe that you don't have that segment where Roman is like, I'm finna go out there and talk, and Pierce is like, no, you're not. Jacob's not here, and then Seth is standing right behind him.
Get out of my way.
Seth has always been right behind Roman to the point where you go back, who's the person that hit him with a chair from behind? Seth freaking Rollins.
Hmm.
So, and what we said, you and I said this. Eventually, they're going to have to face off again,
Yeah.
right?
And on a big stage.
SummerSlam.
Yeah.
How do you gain heat for SummerSlam? By them to, you know, and you cannot get heat from a loss unless it's something like, Braun had to get help or whatever. But I see Seth and Roman possibly going at it again because Seth lost his title to an injury, right?
Hmm.
So he had to vacate it. It wasn't like he just lost. So that's where the dilemma is at. Seth lost that title to his own demise. Roman gained that title by beating the person that Seth despises possibly more than Roman. So now you have this matchup where Roman has the title that Seth literally built. He never lost that title. And then the whole thing about, Roman's not going to be going over to overseas and the whole pay cut situation and this, that, and the third. So now it's like it's making me think that Roman might drop that title before June. Or obviously before the tour or whatever. But
Right, right, right. Before the Europe tour.
so I feel like not Roman, excuse me. I feel like Seth is probably going to beat Braun.
And I think, yeah, by that logic, I can kind of agree with that because you can do it in a way that you don't kill Braun's heat if he takes a pin. Yeah, but you got to be smart about it.
You gotta be real smart about this.
Yeah, yeah.
And Braun don't need division. Like I'm so sick of division. I'm they're pretty much on the same level as what Judgment Day was, and I'm getting there,
Oh
and I'm
boy.
trying
Oh
trying
boy.
not to.
Oh boy. But
The way Logan holds that title, I swear, I don't I don't like it.
I think that I think your thoughts on that have been well established. I
I don't
agree,
like
but
the
I'm
way
just saying.
I do not like the way he talks on the mic.
I do not like him.
He talks like he's reading off a teleprompter. And Austin just I just gave up on him. I because
Yeah.
pressure. I'm gonna put that pressure on. Like, Dom
Yeah.
Mysterio makes better promos than them two, and that's saying a lot.
Oh God, that's a huge statement too. I think the Gingerbread Man probably cut a better promo than Logan Paul at this point.
Now we talk about Sami Zayn, or we talking about the actual gingerbread that cease
Oh
and
well,
desist.
I mean, I'm talking about the Gingerbread Man who got out alive last week.
Yeah. R.I.P. to the gingerbread man. Um,
Yeah.
which the sooner we can get past the gingerbread man, the better for Trick
God.
Williams' character.
I think it's kind of obvious that retains against Sammy,
Yeah.
retains that title. But I think the biggest thing you need to figure out how to do is get Sami Zayn just mega heel heat.
Mhm.
Because I feel like that's what's next. But I don't think the way to do that is to have him beat up somebody in a gingerbread man costume. And a side note, I legitimately thought on that segment on SmackDown last week, I legitimately thought that was Trick Williams in that costume before he started getting beat down.
No, no, I'm right there
Like
with you.
he was just standing there motionless.
I'm right there with you. The whole time I'm sitting there like, oh, that's Trick. That's Trick. That gotta be Trick. And then his music hit, and I'm like, okay, Sammy gonna turn and Trick gonna, but it was no, actual gingerbread.
Like Sammy's gonna turn, Trick's gonna pull the helmet off, the headgear off, and then hit him with a trick shot.
Yeah, but I see where they went because I mean, you can't just do
Yeah,
the same. You can't do the same trick 2 weeks in a row. I mean, well, not even 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks in a row? I was like
yeah,
a week and a half. Oh,
yeah.
well, 3 weeks. So I know I got it wrong, but basically, you can't do it leading up to WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania, Trick turns around and does it to him, and that's not Trick's MO, really,
No, it's
when you
not.
think about it.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I mean that's not how he's gotten his heat. That's not how he's gotten his momentum, even though he's been on the main roster for a minute and a half.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
he's bravado.
yeah,
I'm gonna show up and whoop that trick. So
yeah, totally, totally. It's like I think I said a couple of weeks ago. He reminds me of like the love child of Dusty Rhodes and Booker T.
it's crazy. He reminds me of the love child of The Rock and Booker T.
Oh, okay. No, I that may be a better comp actually.
Like the Hollywood Rock.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. But yeah, no, those first two matches, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker and Trick Williams and Sami Zayn are going to be on ESPN too. And then you've got Io Sky going up against Asuka in a singles match. Now, as far as I'm concerned,
That should have been Corey Sane.
that should be Kairi Sane.
Kyrie
But
Sane, sorry.
Kairi Sane was released this past week for
And then
reasons I still can't wrap my head around.
I can't rap it because she was in the middle of that what was going on. Like
Yeah,
it wasn't like she was just some sidekick or whatever. Like
no,
eventually they was building up to her turning on Oscar. And yet they was like, oh, we're gonna release her, get her out of there, and then like makes it makes no sense because it just totally flipped the story because it was more of like my friend is getting bullied by a friend that I used to call a friend, but now it's like the friend is out. So now why are we beefing? Because you just want to bother me? Really? So
Yeah. And then next is going to be that tag team match between Kit Wilson and The Miz against Danhausen and a mystery partner. You know who I want to be the mystery partner for Danhausen.
and I
So,
pray to God that it is because
yeah.
listen here, the last time we had some mystery, whatever, it was at Elimination Chamber. No disrespect. Dan House, like, I'm so glad he's here. I'm so glad he's with WWE.
Yeah.
But the buildup was terrible because
Mm.
the way they built it up, it made it seem like maybe the Undertaker's coming back, Vince McMahon,
Chris
The
Jericho.
Rock, Chris Jericho, who name it? You
Yeah.
can name them all. But for him to come out and that crowd was, if they had pitchforks, they probably would stabbed him
Hmm.
because it was like, bro, you made us wait almost a month for this to be that. So like now, obviously we only had 2 short weeks, but I mean he's been putting in work on social media, like
Oh, he is.
I'll pay $100 if such good. Okay, all right. I know this is far fetched. I know you want your guy, right?
Right. So, I just want him to say his name so he can appear.
Right. Obviously Joe Henry, but
Right.
could
Is
you
a
imagine
version of his.
in another word, right? This guy comes out and he comes out because he wants that $100, right? Stone Cold freaking Steve Austin. And Dan is sitting there in the ring. He was like, I tried to get everybody and nobody showed up, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I still got my $100 in my hand. And then boom, the glass breaks, right? Stone Cold comes out in that RTV, just driving, driving how he drives. Miz is losing losing his mind. Because he's like, what the Stone Cold comes in, stun, pin. He grabs $100. They have a beer. He stuns Dan, and then he drives off. The kid in me will go absolutely berserk because we're naming all these people, right? It's pretty much in the same realm of
Hmm.
when Dan has, right? But this person is somebody we want to see. Like we would have
Yes.
never thought in a million years we'd see him do anything close to something like this. But that just fits in his MO because he's so random like that. But he'll get
I
$100.
Yeah. No, you get $100. That'd be a few cases of beer.
Yeah. Or gas in his RTV.
Oh,
I mean
oh yeah,
ATV.
or gas in his four-wheeler. Yeah. Oh my God, I would mark the ever-loving F out if that happened. I
Because I could
would.
just imagine Miz's face when this
Yes.
happened. And like Kit is like, like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
But Kit hits that, oh my God, is this dude. He's so filled with male toxicity or whatever. And then
Yeah.
Stone Cold like, what? And he says it again,
What?
but by the time he gets it out of his mouth, boom, a stunner.
The crowd would lose their mind, and honestly, 49 years old, I would lose my mind too.
Yeah. It, but
Yeah.
it might be Joe, or it may
Yeah.
be like my brother said, it may be CM Punk. CM Punk
Right.
may be going on the side mission. He's bored because I think obviously Gunther is going to be going after that title of Cody's. So what better way to give CM Punk the Cody treatment and have him do side missions until he gets to the undisputed title, and that's one of
Indeed.
the side missions. So
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. And then, of course, the main event, we got Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns. Now, that match has gotten like the buildup of that match has gotten fascinating to me.
It has.
With Jacob breaking out the Tongan Death Grip, and logically, I don't think there's a chance in hell he gets the win.
Mhm.
But I think there's a real possibility of that match being absolutely phenomenal because we saw a video, and I shared it with you of Jacob Fatu up at the dungeon training with Natalia breaking out a Hurricane Runner. That big Joker breaking out lucha moves. Of course, Jacob Fatu he's like a jazz musician in there. He just makes stuff up as he goes along. But I think he could pull something insane off in that match. I think he
I
loses.
mean,
I think he gets a 3 second tan to borrow John Cena's phrase, but
a Hurricane Rana is pretty insane. You know, like he just get that out of there, that'd be enough. His backflip he do is enough, but he doesn't do it. I mean, like because he's doing that death grip.
yeah.
But you've pointed out something these past few weeks, and I haven't thought about it until now, right? And we big on Easter eggs. We big on like listening to what people are saying in these promos and how things are being played out or pers per presumed, really. And what has always been said these past few weeks? I brought you into this company. No, no, no. Solo brought me into this company. Okay, Solo brought you into it, but who brought Solo into it? I did, right? Hey, Solo, you starting to act like Roman, right?
Been going on
We
for
are
a
like
while.
we are like this. We're not strong when we like this. We're strong when we like this, right? It's a lot of different factors going on with this whole bloodline thing. And I feel like, because we love to dissect this bloodline story. Roman doesn't win that clean. Or better yet, Jacob almost almost is close to beating Roman, right? But once again, in the new era of WWE, we always got to get the guy that comes out with a shotty on his face. You got to take the shot off.
Oh
Who's the guy
God,
that interviewed,
I was hoping you wouldn't say that.
or a hoodie, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
So I feel like either it's gonna be Solo, it's either gonna be that tall, I forgot his name, but obviously Jeff and the other guy got released, so we only got three of the MFTs left. So it's gonna be somebody, or or it could be Jay.
Now that would be fascinating.
Because what has Jay been saying? Oh, you in the big water now, dog. You this and that. You blah blah blah. You blah. So Jay is really acting like Crash Out Jay. Jay is really acting like he could just snap at any moment. And what better way is to, yeah, you swim in the big waters. Jacob almost takes Roman to the distance just to get cut from under, underneath his legs by Jay.
Where would that leave Jimmy though?
That will leave Jimmy questioning his brother. Why would you do that? Why
Right.
would you? This man is literally fighting for his family too. Can't you understand where he's coming from?
Yeah.
You was in his situation before. You was going after the world title too. You wanted to prove yourself. You wanted to do this. You wanted to do that to the point where Jay is now pissed off at his brother. You don't understand. You don't get it, right? You've never won a singles title, so you wouldn't know. Then boom, There goes that dynamic between them two.
I was behind you the whole time. I supported you the whole time. I loved you. I pushed you through this. It was Jimmy that was the one that elevated Jay's,
But
yeah,
remember, it was Jimmy that who also cut under his brother's legs too when he was this close to beating Roman for the undisputed title. They never resolved it.
touche, touche, yeah.
All it was said was, "Oh, I didn't want you to turn like Roman. That would have corrupted you." Blah 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 blah. Then, just for that to not happen, and then Jay wins the undisputed. I mean, excuse me, Jay wins the world title. Who's to say? Who's to say the world title didn't corrupt him then? All that fame, all that love, all that eating, all that being on the mountaintop, and then Roman turns around and says, "I'm proud of you. You see where I'm coming from now, being a world champion." That's in Jay's mind, right? So now it's like it's a full circle moment. And then that causes a dynamic where Jay is fighting Jacob, and he's fighting his brother, kind of, where his brother's like, I don't understand, why would you do that? We're family. This man was trying to do something, and he just snaps, and it brings up old stuff that happened in the past, and then that's the dynamic where the bloodline is kind of imploding again.
Right. I like where your head's at on that. I definitely like where your head's at on that because I don't think Jacob Fatu leaves Tampa with that title. Just my personal opinion. But
Unfortunately,
it's not, but it won't be clean. It won't be clean. It won't be clean. And I think, and I think some Jey Uso drama thrown on top of that, some Uso drama thrown on top of that, especially since they changed the music again, which, why do they keep
how many
screwing
times can you
with music?
remix a song? Just the song. It's just me, Oos. We back, Oos. Day one, Oos. Like, I, it's me and you, Oos. Like, what? Y'all go from day one to it's me and you, Oos. But last time I checked, it was just you, Oos. When you left your brother, it was just
Yeah.
you. Now your brother's back, and y'all back with the same music, and then your brother have his own music. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Y'all don't want to just you know.
TKO. Just love screwing with things that don't need to be messed with.
We need Johnson back. That's what we need.
God, your lips to God's ears on that one.
We need him back. Like, or some competent producer
Yeah.
that sits in the room and just be like, "Hey, look, listen to me. I'm being dead ass when I'm telling you this. That is trash. Let me give you something, like, please." And then who in their right mind? And I don't mean to go back to this guy, but who in their rabbity ass mind sat in the room with Logan Paul and told him his interest music was hot or made sense or even just, and we had this discussion before
Was
me and
logical.
Ryan. It was
Yeah.
like, what makes a superstar? His music, his everything, right? And no disrespect, Logan got it. Logan got everything but
Yeah.
that. When that music hits, I'm like, what is this? What jobber is finna come up? Seth Rollins even said it one time. He was in the ring and the music hit. He was like, who is this? Oh, Logan Paul. Oh, that's right. Like, come on, man. Change. I mean, obviously it's changed because the Vision music is playing now, but when he goes back to it being him, he needs to drop that music.
I got bad habit. It's awful. It's awful.
I'm humble, and I get it. It plays into his heel. Like, I mean, it
Right.
makes you be sick of the song, but I didn't mean to go back to that. I'm sorry. I just had to get it out.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, this is something that I could talk for hours on. Just the like at the Royal Rumble when somebody's music hits and there's like 40,000 people looking at the stage like a bunch of confused dogs in this. Oh, it's so and so.
Yeah, so just imagine we get invited to Royal Rumble. You know, we watching it and stuff, and we getting excited, and people coming out. Oh yeah, that's him, that's him, that's him. And then we sitting there drinking a beer or whatever, and his music hits, and it's like, oh, that was Logan Paul. Oh,
Yeah.
yuck, man, I thought that was Disco Inferno or something. Like some crazy name. Like, who is this guy? Like
Glacier. Uh,
Glacier. Oh God, that's a throwback. Wow. Yeah, Glacier. Yeah,
yeah.
but like, brother, you got all that money in the world. You got all that money in the world. I know you know. Little Yachty, get with Little Yachty, figure out a dirt song. Not in the world. Everybody else's songs are worth something, and yours is trash. Make so bad. Becky Lynch's interest music, her new one. I hate it, but it's way better than Logan's.
I'm gonna say something that may get me some heat here. And you know how I feel about her music. Brie Bella's music is better than Logan Paul.
I thought you was about to go totally left and say Liv Morgan's song was way better.
That's yeah.
Brother, to perform a whole
I'm
music
not gonna
video,
mention it. Yeah, yeah,
a music video before you even wrestle at WrestleMania, you know what? It's whatever. It was WrestleMania. I get it. Whatever.
yeah,
So get your
yeah.
get your get
It's
your money, get your minutes. Which song? I don't
yeah,
care.
yeah, but yeah, yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we go home on this, you and I both wanted to take some time out before we wrap up here today and give our flowers to a giant who left us just this past week. Mr. Ted Turner passed away at the age of 87. Um, Ted Turner was insane. I will be the first one to tell you he was insane.
And that's understatement.
But he, longtime owner of the Atlanta Braves, founded CNN, owned the Hawks, TNT, but he was always a friend of pro wrestling. Even back in the beginning, even back in the 70s and 80s, that was where most of us got to meet Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Harley Race, um, Nikita Koloff, a young Sting with blonde hair. Um, that's where a lot of us got to meet these guys for the first time. Arn Anderson. Um, but I truly believe that it was thanks to his hubris and his endless bank account that many of us here in 2026, that many of us of a certain age are wrestling fans to this day because it was because it was just him having a meeting with Eric Bischoff and say, "Hey, I'll give you 2 hours on Monday nights. Go up against Vince McMahon." It was that gave birth to the Monday Night Wars, and like I really think his contribution to pro wrestling cannot be overlooked and
Absolutely.
underestimated for that matter.
Absolutely. You and I here at Wrestling Roundtable Pod, we want to give our flowers to him and I pay our respects and send our prayers to him, his family, and all his loved ones. I mean, the man, he was just as polarizing as Vince McMahon. And
Hmm.
without Ted Turner, we wouldn't have the product that we have now with WWE because Ted Turner pushed WWF to the brink of literally taking over wrestling to where Vince had to pull a rabbit out his tail and basically come up with the Attitude Era. Uh, you know, we wouldn't have Stone Cold, we wouldn't have The Rock, Mankind, DX. The list goes on and on. And you know, growing up, like if it wasn't for Ted Turner, we wouldn't have had WCW come to Panama City. We wouldn't have like the southern areas where Vince McMahon was really trying to take over all the areas of America and not really just focused on southern wrestling. Where, because back then he was taking top talent from southern wrestling companies and putting in his own umbrella. And Ted was like, "No, we finna going back old school. We finna cater to the common man."
Hmm.
And also, growing up, a guy from Alabama, the Braves were our team. We don't have a major league team. So,
Yeah.
Braves was the closest thing to us. So, I grew up being you know, don't kill me on this, but I grew up being a Yankees and Braves fan. So, but yes, I definitely am glad that Ted did what he did and really just I mean, we're pretty much getting the same thing in somewhat of an aspect of Tony Khan trying to fight the big dogs at WWE. So
Yeah. But if you think about it, pro wrestling has always had a stigma about it. It's always had a stigma about it of kind of being lowbrow entertainment, kind of being, not really corporate friendly, let's say.
mhm.
But Ted was like, the hell with that. I'm going to give it a prominent time slot. I'm going to give it, I'm going to put money behind it. And, we're going to make Vince McMahon um, play catch up.
Yeah,
And he
eat his
did.
words.
And he did for 83 consecutive weeks. And that, to me, that's, that was, granted, I was a wrestling fan before that even happened, but even my attention had been kind of waning, so to speak, before the Monday Night Wars. But, when I was in college and, right after I graduated, that's when it was at its hottest. And I think that a lot of us, again, a lot of us of certain ages are wrestling fans today because Ted Turner was a crazy man with an unlimited bank account.
Yeah. Thank God for him and his bank account. And thank
Eh,
God for Vince McMahon.
Amen to that. But, to say nothing of the fact that he revolutionized how baseball was televised. He helped, the mere fact that people from Washington State could watch the team in Atlanta, Georgia play baseball when you're in the middle of Seattle Mariners territory. Um, or, like I can't tell you, even up here in Connecticut, right? This is the
Mhm.
middle of Mets and Yankees territory up here. Um, the Braves get blacked out every time they play the Mets or the Yankees, which, I've come to expect, even though I pay for the MLB package. But or just the Braves this year. But my point is that to this day, I still see Braves hats walking around here. And that's because Ted Turner had the foresight to put them on his channel, even when the Braves were absolute garbage in the
And they were.
1980s, and they were awful. Um, you know, lots of memories with me and my family in Fulton County Stadium, sweating our tails off watching the Braves lose 12-2. But it was memories that you just cannot forget. And yeah, Ted Turner will definitely be missed. He was a pioneer, man. He's a crazy man, but he was a pioneer.
Absolutely. And thank God for Vince McMahon, the promoter, not the other Vince McMahon. Just wanted to get that out.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, totally facts on that. Only facts on that. Well, we actually have a wrestling show this Saturday, and we'll be back next week with another episode where we're going to recap what happened on the Wrestling Roundtable recap what happened on Backlash on the next episode of the Wrestling Roundtable. And oh, and before we wrap up here, apparently John Cena's going to have some big announcement coming up on this show on Saturday. Do you think that's going to be anything except for a stinky wet fart?
Yeah, you're gonna come out with a line of jorts.
Yeah, yeah, or he's going to partner with Reebok to do the pump up sneakers again.
Or you got a new one coming out called You Can't See Me.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think it's going to be just a giant wet blanket. I don't have much faith in it.
Who's to say he might
Yeah,
not
but
wrestle?
yeah, but
I don't
who's
know.
to
I
say?
just want
Who's to say? Who's to say? I mean, he
yeah.
may end up being Danhausen's tag team partner, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I mean him and Miz. Look, we didn't get a match with him and Miz, so there you go.
No, 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 we didn't. No. Well, not the most upbeat episode of the podcast yet, but we want to do it again next week.
Absolutely.
All right, my guy. You've been watching and listening to the Wrestling Roundtable. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. You can also follow us on the social media machine on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And join us next week. Leave a review. You know, tell a friend, tell an enemy that we're going to be back next week. We're here every week with another episode of the Wrestling Roundtable. For Dom, I'm Ryan. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And until we eat again, take care and don't let TKO cut your pay.
Pressure.